am Dr. Pavitra Bharadwaj. I work as an associate professor in the Jesus and Mary College of University of Delhi. So friends, in this series we are talking about front-end web development, and we were looking at how we can enrich the look and feel of our pages using the images and how we can insert images into the web pages. So in order to insert an image in the web page, we had discussed that the tag that we use is the IMG tag. Now the IMG tag basically specifies the image, or it basically inserts an image wherever you will use the IMG tag in your web page. IMG tag is, it's an empty tag, that is, it does not need to be closed. There is no need to close the IMG tag. And within the IMG tag, we can use different attributes of the IMG tag to define the behavior of the images. Like, what do we mean by behavior? That is the height of the image, the width of the image, the border of the image, the alignment of the image, etc. So we are looking at the different attributes of the image tag, and the first and foremost attribute, of course, is the SRC attribute. The SRC attribute will give you the URL. You specify the URL of the image file that you want to load on your web page, right? And you can specify the URL in the form of an absolute URL, that is the complete path of the image, or you can give it in the form of a relative URL, that is only the name of the image file, if the image file and your web page reside in the same directory, right? But it is always safer when you are working on, for World Wide Web and websites, it is always safer to give the complete path of the image, so that when different operating systems will read the URL, there should not be any conflict. Now, besides the source attribute, we can also specify the height and width of the image, and height and width can be specified in the form of pixels, okay, that is absolute value 200, 300, 400, or you can specify using the percentage. When we are saying percentage, we mean the percentage of the screen area. If you want an image to cover 50% of your screen, so you can give the height and width as 50% each. So your image will cover 50% of your screen area. Then if you want, you can also have a border around your image. So border can be specified in the form of pixels. So you can write border is equal to 3. So a border of 3 pixel width will be surrounding your image, right? Then another very important attribute of the image is the alt attribute. Now alt attribute, the word alt actually stands for alternate, right? So alt attribute means that it's the alternate text that we are going to specify, which will appear in case the image fails, okay. Say for example, this is the image that we want to load, but the image is not available due to some reason, right? So you give the alt attribute, and in the alt attribute you specify the description of the image, right? So you will specify, say, whatever the image is about. If it is the title of the image, you can give the title of the image, or you can give one or two phrases about what the image is showing. Right. Now there are two purposes of specifying the alt attribute, and hence it is imperative that for all images the alt attribute should be given. The first purpose of the alt attribute is that it is used by the visually impaired users of the website who use screen readers to access your website. So because the screen reader can read out the text and express it to the user as what the image is showing. So you can communicate with all users, and your website becomes more accessible to all kinds of users, especially with persons with benchmark disabilities. Another very important use is that the search engine crawlers, when they are searching for content. So of course they cannot read the image directly, but if you have specified the alt description of the image, then they can read that description from the alt and they will note that okay, this page has got information about this particular topic. So this description of your image will, you know, it will make your page easy to search, easy to find by the search engines. So therefore it is also very important to make your page, you know, visible to various search engines if you provide the alt attribute. Therefore it is always advised to graphics designers, to web designers, that the alt attribute should definitely be provided, should definitely be specified with the image tag. Now besides this, you can also provide image around, space around your image, right. If you want that, you know, the image should have some kind of horizontal spacing, then you specify that using H space and you give the number of pixels, that is the space that you want to provide. You can also provide vertical space around the image, okay, so that you can specify using V space. So V space will be used to create blank space around, vertically around your image, and H space will be used to create horizontally space, spacing around your image. Then it is also very important to place the image at the right position on your web page, right. Whether you want the image to be on the top, bottom, middle, left or right, right. So this can be controlled by giving the align attribute. So the align attribute can have, you know, different values. So you can give align is equal to top, bottom or middle. This basically top, bottom and middle will align your image with relation to the text, okay, because there is some text which is following the image, right. Now you want the text to appear at the top of the image, or you want the text to appear at the bottom of the image, or you want the text to appear at the middle of the image, right. Like in this particular example, you can see that the text is appearing at the top of the image, the text is appearing in the middle of the image, and the text is coming at the bottom of the image. So how you can control this? By giving the alignment is equal to, so you will write img align is equal to top, bottom or middle, okay. Also if you see in the first image, you can see that you have actually inserted an image in between the text. So wherever you will write the img attribute, img tag, the image will appear at that particular portion, okay. So then we can also, you know, insert, so we can write image align is equal to top, align is equal to bottom and align is equal to middle for aligning the text of the image. Then you can also align the image to the left or to the right of the page. So that is actually horizontal alignment of the image on the page. So that can be done using align is equal to left or align is equal to right. Now align is equal to left is the default, that is if you do not give any alignment, then the image will automatically come to the left side of the page, okay. But please, this is to be noted that image attribute or the image tag basically is an inline tag. Inline means that wherever you will insert, it will come at the same place, it will not go into the next line, okay. So therefore one has to be careful while, you know, using the img tag with text, okay. Then when we were talking about, you know, hyperlinking, we had said that a hyperlink could be a text, that is the text can act as a hyperlink, or if you want, an image can act as a hyperlink, right. So if you want your image to act as a hyperlink, that is when the user will click on the image, then the user will be taken to some other, you know, page, or will be taken to the description of the image. How you can do that? So we had already used the ahref tag. Now in the ahref you give the URL of the page that you want to open, and between the A and the closing A we will give the image tag. So, we will write img src and we will give the URL of the image and other attributes of the image tag that we have just discussed. So, now what will happen? This image will behave like a hyperlink. When the user will click on the image, say links.jpg, the user will be taken to the page links.html. So, here the image is behaving like a hyperlink, right. So, the then we can also use image as a background of a web page, right. We had seen when we were talking about formatting the body of a web page. So, the one of the attributes that we use with the body was body BG color. Now, when you use BG color, you can of course give one color to your web, the background of your web page. But instead of color, if you want an image to act as a as the background of the page, then that you can give using the background element or the background attribute with the body tag. So, we can write body background and then you give the again the same thing, you can give the absolute URL of your image file or you can give the relative URL of your image file. So, body background and you give the name of the image file that you want to show. So, if we are using this, then this particular image is working as the is created or is shown as the background of the page. Now, a simple question which would arise to your mind is that when you look at a particular background, you would want to further enhance the background, right, that you want only the background to come in the center, that is the image should come only in the center, or you want the image to come as a watermark. Okay. All this can also be controlled, but this cannot be controlled to a major degree using HTML. So, what is the solution? The solution is that we use the style sheets. Okay. So, when we will be doing the style sheets, we will see how you can further control the behavior of these tags, control the behavior and appearance of certain elements. So, that can also be done, but that will be done using cascading style sheets, right. So, style sheets will add one more step to the controlling or to the look and feel of your page, right. So, we have seen that how we can insert an image on the web page, and besides adding an image, how you can control the look and feel and the attributes or the properties of the image, right. Now, another very important aspect of all web pages are tables. On all pages we see the tables for showing data. Besides this, you also have you use images tables sometimes to format the contents or to align the contents of the web page. So, tables have got two-way applications. First is to show the data in a grid format, okay, to arrange the data like text, images, links, etc. in rows and columns, or you also you can use the tables for aligning the different elements on the same page. Okay. So, tables can be created in HTML, and there are few tags which are very important when you want to create the tables, right. What is a table? We all understand a table is a two-dimensional array, it is a two-dimensional grid which has got rows and columns. So, you can create a table on HTML page using the table tag. Table tag is basically a container tag, therefore, you need to close the tag also. So, you have an opening table tag and you have a closing table tag. Then you use the TR tag. TR stands for table rows. To create the rows of the table, you have to of course close the TR to specify where the row is ending. Then you have the TD tag, which is basically used for creating the columns in the table, or what we say as the cells of the table. So, first tag that we use is the table tag to specify that now the table is going to be created. Then the rows of the table can be created using table row or TR, and the columns in the table can be created using the TD TD tag and closing TD tag. So here we can see a simple table is shown to us, and this table you are creating using the table tag, and this table has got 3 rows and 3 columns, right. So 3 rows and 3 columns means that the first row you will create as shown here, you will have table and then you will write the border, you will write the word border. Border is actually an attribute of the table tag, but in HTML if you do not write border, then the borders or the grid lines which you see in a table will not appear. Therefore, if you want the grid lines to appear, you have to give the word or you have to give the attribute border. You can also control the size of this border, as in how thick or thin you want the border. So you can write table border is equal to say 4. So then a border of 4 pixel thickness will be created. But remember, if you are not writing the word border, the table will be created without border, that is you will not see the grid lines. So now you define, after giving the table tag and the border, then you define the first row of the table. So you will write TR, that is the first row is beginning, and then you will write TD in order to create the columns or cells. So you will write TD, line 1 column 1, close the TD, again line 1 column 2, line 1 column 3, and then you will close the TR. So when you close the TR, the first row is ending, and then you begin with the second row, and then you again likewise you will specify for the second row you will specify the 3 columns, and for the third row you will specify the 3 columns, and then eventually you will close the table tag so as to tell the browser that the table is now complete, and whatever will follow will come outside the table, right. So using these 3 tags we can create a simple table, that is the table tag and giving the border element, and you specify the rows giving the TR, and you specify the columns or you create the cells in the rows using the TD or table data. Okay. Now if you want, in most of the tables what we see is that the first row of the table is actually a heading row, right. So in heading row, if you want to create that the first row, the titles should come center aligned, or they should come in bold, they should appear like a heading. So instead of TD in the first row, you will write TH. So TH stands for table heading. So now your data will be automatically aligned to the center of the cell, and it will come in the bold. So you can see here in this table, sub 1, sub 2, sub 3 and sub 4, these are been defined as the headings. So instead of writing TD for these headings, we will write TH. So TH means table heading. For the rest of the cells, you will write TD, that is table data, but for the first row only you will write TH instead of TD to specify the heading row, that is the first row, that is the heading row. Now we also understand that you would want to align, or you would want to give a nice look to the data within a cell also, and sometimes we also need to increase or decrease the spacing between 2 cells, right. So for this you can use the cell padding and cell spacing attribute. Cell padding attribute will adjust the space around the data within a cell. Okay, so cell padding means that the distance between the border of the cell and the content of the cell, that is specified using cell padding. And cell spacing means that how much will be the width of the border, or how much spacing will be there between the 2 cells. Okay, so you can specify the cell padding and cell spacing with the table attribute. So you will write table border cell padding is equal to 10. That means we are specifying that we need a space of 10 pixel around the content of the cell, and we are specifying cell spacing. Here we are specifying cell spacing is equal to 0, which means that we do not want any spacing between two cells, and the two cells will come very closely packed to each other. You can also specify other way round. So, we can specify cell padding is equal to 0 and cell spacing is equal to 10. So, in that case the cells will be very far apart, but the border and the content of the cell will be close, right. So, you can see here the first table we are using a cell padding, but no cell spacing. In the second table we can see that we are not using any cell padding, but you are using a cell spacing of 10 pixels. So, you can see each cell is 10 pixel apart from the adjacent cells, and in the third table you can see that we are specifying cell spacing also and cell padding also. So, the look of the table will considerably be altered when you use these attributes like cell spacing and cell padding. Okay. So, we can specify here, like just now I told you, that in the third table we are using both the padding and the spacing attributes. Now, besides this, sometimes we also intend to merge the cells in the table. We require, there is a need to merge the cells in a table. Like you can see in this example, where in the first row the second and the third column have been merged, right. Or in the second example you can see that the second and third row have been merged for the second column, right. So, when you want to create this kind of a structure where two cells have been merged, then for this you need another attribute of the table, actually of the TD tag, which is called the row span or the call span attribute. Now, as the name suggests, call span attribute will be used to merge two or more columns into a single column, and row span attribute will be used to merge two or more rows into a single row, right. So, you have to write this row span or call span attribute, you have to specify this with the cell. So, you are specifying TD call span is equal to 3. Okay. Now, as you know that the align attribute, what you see here, it does not matter, because align attribute can be used with any of the tags. So, here we are using TD align, means that the data in a particular cell will be aligned to the center. But what is crucial here to notice that we are writing TD call span is equal to 3. So, this means that we are merging 3 columns into 1. Okay. And then you write for the next you write TD, and you can see line 1 column 4. So, this means that the first, second, that is the second, third and fourth column will be merged. Okay. And in the following table row it will follow the same thing, that is all the columns will be created in the second table, in the second row onwards. Okay. Likewise, we can also create TD row span, as I said. So, in row span what we are doing, we are merging two rows. So, we will write row span is equal to 2, means that these two rows are going to be merged. So, you have line 2 column 2, and then there is no line 2 column, line 3 column 2, because we have merged the line 1 and line 2 for the cell which is showing in the column 2. Right. So, this can be used, the row span and call span attribute can be used for merging of cells, whether row wise or column wise, and you can use the align attribute with this, so that they can the data can appear properly. As you know, we had used align attribute in the first case, so it is coming in the center. If you will use the align attribute in the second case, that will also come in the center. So, with row span, call span, you can use the align attribute. So, friends, we will continue our discussion on more exciting tags of web designing. Till then, please keep watching CEC. Thank you.